Hello my friends, this is umonox, and in my first tutorial with the Tonverk I want to have a look at how we can replicate a sidechain effect. Okay, so let's get started. Well, I have some stuff prepared on that Tonverk just a kick, a hi-hat and some sort of a melodic, kind of a melodic sound. And we want to make a sidechain with these. And to make that possible, we could go to the mix track and, for example, go into the effects right here, take a compressor in, and use that sidechain input right here to actually make that happen. But as you might guess, this would affect everything that is on that thing and is not what we want. We want to precisely control which tracks we want to get sidechained, and we want to have control over the sidechain effect in general. So let's therefore skip this whole thing and let's get started. Okay, so what do we need for a sidechain? Well, we need a way to rhythmically control the volume of a track based on a certain pattern. And for those of you coming from a Digitact world, for example, we could on such a track right here go to the FX and just do something like this and go to the amplitude volume, set up an LFO like that, for example, like this, and turn up the BPM, and now set this to trigger mode. And when we do a sequence like that, we could, for example, do something like this. Maybe this is already working. Let's have a listen. Now, this is not working here. You see? Sounds very weird, you know? So that's not working. And the reason for that is, right here on the trick page, we do not have the LFO retrigger option that we have on those digit boxes. So we need to find another way to do this. And one thing that I found out that is working is we need to take those tracks and send them somewhere where we can control the volume changes independent of the actual triggers that we have on a certain track. So we could also have something like those triggers in between, and you know, we need to control the volume on that step, that step, that step, that, and so on. So here where the kick is, it must go down, here it goes up, here it must go down, here it goes up again, and so on and so forth. There is a way to do this by, you know, incorporating these bus tracks. And on a bus track, I have the ability to actually control that sidechain pattern very precisely. But you say, wait a moment, why use a bus track? Don't we have access to these individual track levels on the mix track? Can't we do that on the mix track? Let me show you. Right here on the mix track, we have those individual levels, right? And the mix track also has a sequencer, right? So look at this, I can take in these notes, and why not doing it like this? And you see, that's the reason. Because it's not working. We can't parameter lock those individual track volumes on the mixer, on the mix track, same as we cannot parameter lock them here, because those are pretty much the same. So that's why we have to use another way, and for the moment the only thing that I found out that is working is to use a bus track for this. First, let's clear all these patterns here so we can actually create a new sequence later on. Now for that bus track we have different options. So the best thing that I found out is to go on the second effect track and use a compressor in here, but do all of that stuff and not actually use the compressor as compression, but use its makeup gain for volume changes that we need, because that one can be parameter locked. So the idea is to set the track level. These buses also have a track level since they are actual tracks. The idea is to take those bus track levels down. This is actually the intensity of the sidechain. So how far should it go down when it ducks it away? You know, this is what we set with the track level in that case. And to make sure that the volume comes up again, we are modulating those this parameter right here. So I think it's better to show you exactly what I mean by this. So let's just bring in that pattern again. And this one brings the volume up. And this one right here keeps the volume at the lowest level that we want it to be. So that also means whenever we want to make that sidechain less pronounced, we need to raise this up, but in the same time turn this down again. So it's a little bit nasty, but currently the only way that it works, and still not the worst thing to do, you know. So let's set this to 40 for the moment. And now what I do is I take this one and just put it somewhere here around 15 dB plus. As from earlier tests, I think that this could work. So, and now I do the same thing. I'm parameter locking these down here and this one up. Copy, paste, paste, paste. I take that one, copy, paste, paste, paste. Now it goes down towards the set minimum. It goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down, goes up, and so on. So now that track is already ready. And the only thing we need to do now is to go on to the track that we want to be affected like this and put it in where? Right here, send it to bus 4, which is already set in that case. Normally it's on this AB and I set it to bus 4. And what happens now? When I play this thing, probably nothing. Well, we can't even hear it, it's just, you know. Set the volume up. Yeah, nothing happens. And that's because the sequence has to run. So let's see. Let the sequence run and let's have a listen. Yeah, I think you get the point, right? So that's actually how it works at the moment. So we take a bus track and use an effect on it. Oh, this is a send track, sorry. We take a bus track and use an effect on it, the compressor, to actually do that volume changes. And when I want to intensify the effect of the sidechain now, I have to turn that level down. But watch what happens when I do this. I can still play the synth here, so watch what happens when I do this. Like, gets wider, right? So to intensify the effect, I now have to turn this one up again. And that's not working. Why is that not working? Well, you probably guess it. Because those steps have a fixed value, parameter locked. So whenever we do changes to that one here, we need to actually parameter lock the max value here again. That's a little bit of a drawback, but I think we can live with this. So let's quickly put this one up like so. And so, and you can hear that it's working again. Oh, I'm on the wrong track. So now it's intensified, you know, and that's currently the only way that it can be done on that thing until we get our LFO trigger options back onto the trick page here so that we can make this work with our LFOs again. For now, however, that's the only way that we can do this. But it's not all bad because it also has an advantage. So let's say we are in a live jam situation and we don't want to have that sidechain in all the time. Because we are using actual triggers to actually create that sidechain effect, we have a way to also take those triggers out with the help of the fill mode. And that is actually quite cool. I quickly want to show you this. The only thing necessary for this is to set the appropriate conditions. So we take these steps right here, and right here on the trick page, we set them to not fill. in the first place we set when to not fill, just to show you that. And what that means is that those steps are creating the sidechain effect for as long as the fill mode is not active. But once I activate the fill mode, those things are gone. So have a listen to this right now. And I just do like... See? That's actually pretty cool. And if we want to go further and for a live situation want to go really lazy for that, we can also take the kick onto that thing and mute the kick alongside the sidechain. And I quickly show you how that works. It's basically the same. So here we have the kick. Now we go in here and it's the same thing. We say not fill, which means that it's also been taken out once I enter the fill mode. So let's have a listen to this, maybe like so. Yeah, wrong track and stuff, you know. You'll see that I got these nodes. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit nasty. I have to play these notes in. So let's go to that track and let's just do some notes in here and just do something like, yeah, those. Maybe something like this, and let's see how the note length is. Let's set it like so, and let's have a listen. Also, okay, we have a sequence in now, and now it's just about things like this. See, that was also an issue in here. We must make sure that we hit it somewhere at a spot where the volume is going up, because that value is actually freezed. So let's try that again. Okay, I think you get the point with this. So yeah, to sum things up, using a compressor that is not compressing anything on a bus track with an appropriate sidechain pattern helps us recreating a sidechain effect at the moment by reducing the track volume of that very bus track and increasing the volume from that track again with the help of that compressor, but without actually compressing anything. Just to get a volume control back that we don't have right here, because as you can see on such bus tracks, we don't have an amplitude section where we would have a volume. This is not available, at least not yet. Okay guys, so I hope this was helpful for you. And if you have another way of doing this, if you already found out another way of doing it literally in the same way, but maybe a lot easier when I did it right here, just don't hesitate and tell me in the comments about it. But for now, that's actually the way that I found out, and I will probably use that in the future until we get our LFO retriggers back. Okay, so have a nice day, my friends, and I see you in my next video. Bye!